Everyone, myself Dr. P Kanagaraju, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Sri Sanmava College of Engineering and Technology. Now we are going to see a concept in C which is called looping. So looping is used to execute a set of statements repeatedly until given condition is true. There are three types of looping supported in C. So which are while loop, do while loop, for loop. We can first discuss while loop. So while loop is used to execute set of statements repeatedly till the given condition is true. It is entry control loop. So because we are checking the condition first, if the condition is true, then only we are going to execute looping statements. That's why this is entry control loop. Syntax for while loop: while followed by condition, while condition, then looping statements. So here, so this is looping statements. Looping statements, also called as a looping block, which may contain one or more statements. If the condition is true, the looping statement will execute once. Once again, check the condition. True means execute looping statements, again checking the condition. This is going to happen repeatedly if the condition is true. Once the condition is false, so this will exit from the loop, then control move to the next statement. The next, this is the flowchart representation where we are checking the condition first. If the condition is true, code block will execute. That is, looping statements will execute once, then check the condition. Again, it is true means execute looping statement, again check the condition. This is going to happen repeatedly until the given condition is true. Once the condition is false, so what will happen? It will exit from the while loop, control moving to the next statement. Then next, there's a small example program, so which is used to find sum from so 1 to n. 1 to n. Assume the value of n is we are given directly, which is 5. To find this, we are going to use while loop. So while I less than or equal to n. So what is the value of I? I value is 1, n value is 5. 1 less than or equal to 5, condition is true. Looping statement will execute once. So what is the value of r? R value is 0. I value is 1. 0 plus 1, 1. So which is stored in r. So now r value becomes 1. Next I plus plus. I value is increased by 1, 2. So after executing this looping statement once, so then control moving to the condition checking. Now I less than or equal to 2, I value is 2, 2 less than or equal to 5, condition is true. Once again executing the looping statements, r plus I, r value becomes 1, I value becomes 2, r value becomes 1, I value becomes 2, 2 plus 1, 3, which is stored in r. Now r value becomes 3. The next I plus plus, I value is increased by 1, 3. Next check the condition, 3 less than or equal to 5, condition is true. Looping statement will execute once, r plus I, here r value 3, I value also 3. 3 plus 3, 6. So which is stored in r. 3 plus 3, 6, which is stored in r. Next I plus plus, I value is increased by 1, 4. Now after executing these two statements, condition is checked. 4, I value is 4, n value is 5. 4 less than or equal to 5, condition is true. Then these two statements will execute once again. R value becomes 6 now. R value becomes 6. I value becomes 4. 6 plus 4, 10, which is stored in R. Now R value becomes 10. Next I plus plus, I value is increased by 1, 5. Once again check the condition. 5 less than or equal to 5, condition is true. The looping statement will execute once. R is equal to R plus I. Now currently R value is 10. R value currently 10. I value currently 5. 10 plus 5, 15, which is stored in R itself. Now R value becomes 15. Next I plus plus, I value is increased by 1, 6. Next check the condition, 6 less than or equal to 5, condition is false. Once condition is false, so the control is moving to next statement, that is exit from the loop, then control is moving to the next statement. What is the next statement? Which will print the value of r. What is the value of? Finally we have got 15, 1, 5. So which is printed in the output. Actually, now what we did, 1 to n. We are performing sum from 1 to n. So n value we here 5. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So totally 15. Totally 15. So we found the sum from 1 to n with the help of while loop. Hope everyone understood about this while loop with a small example. Now we can move to the next concept, do while. So do while, which is also used to execute set of statement repeatedly until the given condition is true. It is exit control loop. So previous one is entry control loop, because here we are checking the condition, then we are executing the looping statements. That's why this is entry control loop. Now this is where do while is exit control loop, because it is executing the statement first, then it going to check the condition. That's why this is exit control loop. Syntax do followed by looping statements. So at the end of the looping statements, we have to specify the condition. We have to specify the condition. So this is do while. So the flowchart representation, first we are executing the coding block, then check the condition. True means execute the statements once again, then check the condition. This is going to happen repeatedly until the condition is true. Once the condition is false, we are exit from this loop. So this is a small example. So the same thing which is used to find sum from 1 to n. Sum from 1 to n. So do while is going to be used. So the way while loop executing, the same way we are going to use to perform to execute such statements repeatedly. This do while also. The thing is, first we are executing the loop, then we are checking the condition. So this also produce the same result. N value is 5. So 1 to n sum is performed by using this do while loop. We are going to get 15. Next, difference between while loop and do while. The first main difference is while loop is entry control loop, do while is exit controlled loop. So the another difference, if the condition is false at very first time, then the body of the loop will not execute even once in the case of while loop. So in do while, if the condition is false at very first time, then the body of the loop will execute at least once, because in do while first we are executing the looping statements, after that finally checking the condition. In that case, first time, before checking the condition, the body of the loop statements will execute once. That's why even though condition is false at very first time, the body of the loop will execute at least once. Then another one is not end with semicolon. So while specifying while loop, while condition not end with semicolon, but in do while condition end with semicolon. This is syntax while condition followed by looping statements here. So do, that means do followed by looping statements, then while condition. Here it end with semicolon. Here no semicolon. So the while condition part not end with semicolon. Here end with semicolon. Next we are going to see another loop, for loop. The for loop is an entry control loop that executes the statements till the given condition is true. This is a flowchart representation. First, this loop having three parts, syntax. Three parts: initialization part, condition part, increment part. Here, so initialization, condition, increment part. The starting point is initialization. So this initialization is over, control moving to the condition part. Once the condition is true, then this looping statements. Once the condition is true, the looping statement will execute. After executing this looping statement, control move to the increment part. So this increment part once completed, again moving to the condition part. True means execute looping statement, then check the increment part, then execute the increment part, then condition. So these three are going to execute repeatedly. The starting point is initialization. Once control is moving from initialization part to condition part, then the order of execution is going to be condition checking, looping statement execution, increment part. This is happen repeatedly until the condition is true. True means execute statement, increment will execute, then check the condition. True means looping statement will execute, then increment part will execute, then checking the condition. This is happened repeatedly until the given condition is true. Once the given condition is false, control exit from the loop. Control exit from the loop. Then this is the flowchart representation. Initialization I will execute only once, then control is entered into the condition part. True means execute code block, then execute increment block, then control moving to the checking the condition. And second true means execute looping statements, execute increment statement, then condition checking. This has happened repeatedly if the condition is true. Once the condition is false, exit from the for loop, control moving to the next statement. Here the example, the same example, same type of example, which is used to calculate sum from 1 to n. Initially I is equal to 1, so I less than or equal to n, I plus plus, or is equal to r plus I. This for loop will execute repeatedly to get sum from 1 to n. Here in the case 1 to 5. Next, another small thing is called as a next small concept is called as nested for loop. What is nested for loop? A loop inside another loop. We are generally call it as a nested for loop. So this type of loop is generally used while working with multi-dimensional arrays. So general syntax within for loop we are using another for loop. So within a loop we are trying to use another loop which is called as a nested for loop. This is a small example denote nested for loop. So this is outer loop. So the first loop is called as an outer loop. So this second for loop is called as an inner loop. So for int I is equal to int I comma j already declared two variables. For I is equal to 1, I less than or equal to 5, I plus plus. So inside we are using another loop. For j is equal to 1, j less than or equal to 5, j plus plus. So print a percentage d j. So in inner loop having only one statement. So this is inner for loop statement. So this total thing is this outer for loop statement. So first once this outer for loop is true, the inner for loop will execute. Then second time outer for loop will execute. For each time while executing outer for loop, inner for loop will execute. So generally, so loop inside another loop, which is called as a nested for loop. So this is mostly used with working with multidimensional arrays. So generally, loops are used to execute set of statements repeatedly until given condition is true. There are three types of looping. One is while loop, next one is do while, next one is for loop. So while and for loop both are entry control loop. Do while is going to be exit control loop. So thank you for listening. Hope you are getting some idea about looping in C.